And the Lance, I think, is probably one of the best choices that was available for Qlash to try and dissuade an Idris pickup.
Black for the band again. Celeste is still open. That could work very well with the Grace. Very good synergy. You have the heals, you have the long range. Although I would like SK to build a comp that can dive really well because they have the Grace. And even though they're going up against Lance, if you pair it with an Adagio, for example, it would be great, but it doesn't look like it's the thing they're going for. Baptiste comes out, so this almost likely will be a Skye weapon power in the lane. Still though, this is a dive comp, and with Skye weapon power that we talked about earlier, but we didn't quite see, she can dance around the skill shots coming from Scarf, and she can dance around Lance. She can make him almost useless if they're diving well.
The thing is, though, when you have the Lance against Skye, you know, on paper and in theory, the Skye should win that matchup, but so many times we see this in practice, and if the Lance just hits one Impale, that's all it takes is one Impale to connect, Skye can just be blown up from full to dead. So it is a very risky play, but obviously, again, the Skye should be able to outmaneuver, but you have to be wary of that one Impale connecting.
One thing that I also want to bring up is this is SK Gaming on the left of your screen right now. Grace and Baptiste for SK are both kind of flexes. I mean, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, we've seen Kevolafar take weapon power Grace to lane. We've also seen Tyra's play it in the jungle. Like, this is something that they are more than happy to pull out. So you kind of almost can't count your chickens when it comes to this Grace pick in specific to SK Gaming. So I'm curious to see whether Qlash are going to be expecting something like that to come out of the back. I mean, is that realistically a possibility coming into this game? Or
it is a possibility, but it's unexpected. I think they would be a lot better off if they played the Skye weapon power in lane and they let the Baptiste in the jungle.
Yeah, even if it does end up being a Grace that they use as a carry, I don't think it changes your strategy with the composition that Qlash has drafted. I mean, their win condition is more just focused on what they do and doesn't really take into account what your opponent tries to do, which is why I actually really like the draft that Qlash has, because it's more just self-focused, just play the game the way you want to, and regardless of what your opponent does, you should still be able to come out on top as long as you execute properly.
All right, well, we'll see if they can come out on top. Once again, a lot of these games are going to be down to this early control of the map with how XP has changed, how the game has changed in general. I'm curious to see who's going to be able to control this one from the start. Let us know who you are supporting jumping into this game using that hashtag Vainglory8 once again on Twitter. Whether you're wanting SK Gaming or Qlash to take this one, please let us know. But it's time to pass it over once again to Dowsy and the Source to take away game one.
A very exciting matchup here as well. SK Gaming, the summer champions of Europe, up against Qlash here. We do see a bit of a roster shuffle as well for SK Gaming. Hegman, formerly known as Red Aption, coming on to the roster to filling Rapshoes in this captain position as a substitute for the team. Looks like SK are going to be charging forward and looking for some damage onto Hell's Devil. Tyra's bad mojos. Won't be able to find any more. It looks like Hell's Devil is safe, but SK will take away this front treant for themselves.
Early jungle aggression allow them to set the pace for how this game is going to go, especially if they decide to go back in jungle and pick another fight. So SK getting that early bit of experience as well as gold. They're going to go with a 3-man farm for Lot and double Impale.
Double Impale. It's going to be Hell's Devil though. Finding a lot of damage onto himself. If there's one criticism onto Hell's Devil, it's that sometimes his Impales can be the reason that Qlash win the game, and they sometimes are the reason Qlash lose the game. We'll have to see how Qlash do perform here on the Halcyon Fold, because there's a very interesting composition. We're seeing the introduction of Weapon Power Skye here in 2.8 for Kevolafar here up against Masili's Vox. It'll be very intriguing to see what kind of damage it can output, and especially in the late game when Agony on this Scarf will be outputting a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Kevolafar to really dish out the damage unless Tyra's and the dive potential is not terrible from SK. Once Hegman goes in, they can possibly set things up, but it is going to be difficult for them to do that if Hell's Devil is
currently. Have to see exactly how SK look to take over the game. One thing that SK have always been so good at is rotating early with Tyras and securing early game leads via double juggle. Hegman, a lot of pressure, I think, on his shoulders. Big shoes to fill. Raph certainly had a huge impact on SK's performance here in the summer season of the Vainglory 8. SK, at the moment, just moving in to push this wave into the turret as 3, pushing Helldevil back as well. Allow Kvalifar to go back, and potentially some CS will be lost as well for Masilis.
Too much. Good game sense from Helldevil to try and look for that impale, but isn't going to. All the members of SK back buy up and are back out on full, but this is going to allow Agony to get a little bit of extra farm to go away that preempt and plenty of time to clear farm his jungle, and then maybe a little bit closer to the result.
So, then we at Kvalifar. Not quite able to get onto Masilis. Hegman trying to lay down a bit of damage, but Vox typically pretty good into Grace in these matchups. No jungle aggression really coming out of either Agony or Tyros just yet. So it means that these lanes have been fairly safe.
No one able to really find an opening yet. I mean, it's weapon power Sky, so it isn't really a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, the auto attacks and the mobility on Weapon Power Sky definitely makes things a lot easier for him to output damage. Kvalifar as well with the slowdown. Hegman knocked out of his double, would have been triple Holy Nova, but looks like Kvalifar wants the kill. Can he find it? No! Helldevil just about escapes, sitting on just a sliver of health. Masilis though, a bit of damage from this forward barrage. SK, very dominant currently in their aggression, looking to try and get onto this turret and secure some early damage onto the structure.
Good bit of play there from the side of SK. They haven't been able to really connect that into any kills, but they're starting to set the pace of the game. And although they're down a little bit in terms of gold, most of that is coming up.
Okay. Masilis in trouble, but Kvalifar can't quite get onto him. I like the Dragon Blood contract that Hegman has purchased. It means that if an auto attack was to come out of Kvalifar there would have been a huge chunk of damage onto Masilis that would have likely just secured the kill straight up. But so far, Masilis has been very, very safe in being able to just jump away from damage at the last second.
So,
Okay, so seeming like a couple technical difficulties coming out of Source here. Masilis in a lot of trouble. Fountain's going to come out, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to save him. No, the fearsome Shade going to secure first blood here for SK. Now, where can they take this is the question. This first turret, reduced in health in the early game, makes things a little bit easier for SK to secure some damage. Agony and Helldevil taking so much poke. SK just trying to get out of this turret range so that they can get in there to auto-attack it, but not really dodging the laser lock of this turret. In fact, they are going to not be able to take down too much of its health so far. Tyros does move over, get some health and some energy now. SK can look to actually put a lot of pressure onto this turret here. Put that Ordained down onto Masilis, which stops him from aggressing forward. Agony desperately wanting to head back to his jungle and secure some gold. SK right now, they've stalled out Agony's ability to scale up, and they're at a power spike, it seems, where they can continue to lay down damage, and nothing really that Qlash can do. In fact, Helldevil caught in a huge amount of CC. He goes down without even a fountain to save himself, still on cooldown from the previous usage. Now SK may look to push this wave in and try and secure the turret for themselves. Agony sticking around, uses that healing flask for a bit of extra health, but SK have got onto the turret and there's nothing that Qlash can do about it.
So hopefully I'm back and no.
It seems like you're still cutting out, my friend, which is okay. I can continue talking. It's not too much of a difficulty. Qlash is in a bit of trouble, I think. They've got a fairly good late game scaling composition, but SK's macro ability to just find leads for themselves is something that a lot of teams here in Europe struggle with. And I think that that's kind of the entry that SK need to take over this game, is if they're able to continuously look to just pressure Agony Mercilli's before they hit a huge point, then they're going to be in a good position. Hell's Devil, he is just CC locked. He's going to go very low here. The Fearsome Shade catches him up, but it doesn't quite kill him now. Kvalifar trying to get in range. Tyra's as well. Mercilli's blocking up, just about escapes that Ordained at the last split second, but Hegman dives forward and will find himself a kill. Hell's Devil should go down here to Kvalifar, and he will. Only Agony left, and he will just about survive, but gonna lay down a bit of damage onto Hegman and Kvalifar there. SK wanting to do their best here to secure a turret for themselves. Hegman, though, gonna push him back. Ordained blocked up. SK now a bit of trouble considering the fact that they actually can't siege this turret anymore due to the damage they took in the process. And the fountain had to be used to save Hegman's life from the last turret shot as well. So SK now with a 1,000 gold lead, going to continue to scale up and provide trouble for Qlash. Though Qlash's composition definitely feels like in the late game can take over in damage. Agony, once he hits that 3rd damage item and even 4th damage item, like we've seen typically, will have a lot of output. Mercilli's likely to get a breaking point for himself so he can stack up in team fights as well. And it's all about weathering the storm and whether or not they can secure jungle camps, whether or not they can kind of patch the sinking ship that they're sitting on. The SK are trying to continuously pressure. Hegman once more diving on in, has an echo for himself for the double kills. Mercilli split from the team fight. Hell's Devil just about escapes that death from above, so will be safe to escape, and that Impale missing means Hell's Devil will take a bit of damage in the process. SK looking to start up this gold miner here. I believe you're back, Source.
I believe so. Does everything sound good?
Yes, it does. I can hear you. Hello.
Ah, beautiful. And
We're gonna have to
team fight.
have a team fight, so we're gonna have to cut you off. Fearsome Shade just does so much work. It wasn't quite blocked up, and Hell's Devil in trouble, as is Agony. Kvalifar, death from above, splits Agony from Hell's Devil, and that's gonna be another kill going over to Kvalifar. This Crystal Sentry will fall as well. SK 6-0, and now looking to secure even more gold from the map.
Yeah, I missed SK clearly rolling through this game, putting a lot of pressure. This weapon power Sky seems to be then at 3-0-3. If that team fight was any indication, it just seems like of Qlash can't survive long enough to actually dish out some of the damage.
Yeah, now with the gold miner taken here for SK, their gold lead continues to scale up even further. Qlash, like you mentioned, difficulties in surviving team fights long enough to have the impact they need, and it's going to be a long time until Agony hits a broken myth and really is outputting enough damage. Mercilli is now looking to try and get himself that breaking point, but he's 1,300 gold away from it, and SK just continuously looking to try and steal away as much gold off the map in the enemy jungle, push the lane in to put pressure on Qlash, and it allows SK room to maneuver around the map. We haven't talked much about Kvalifar here, this weapon power Sky. Sorrowblade, breaking point now going towards crit. Single crit item usually isn't too effective, so you assume that he's going to go for double. And SK seemingly found a flank here. Tyra's behind, Agony rooted, stunned, and he's going to be blown up. No, he finds one before he goes down. Kvalifar now struggling to escape, but the Divine Intervention will come through to keep him alive for now. And Mercilli's will find the kill. Looking for a second, it's a huge shutdown. Hegman trying to survive. The Divine Intervention comes through, but he just doesn't have the damage to survive. And Mercilli's will find an ace. Qlash have done it. A split fight from SK, seemingly proving that it'd be a team fight killer for them.
Yeah, great play there from Mercilli's. A lot of that came off of the Poison Shiv to just reduce the healing coming up from the Divine Intervention. And it looked like Kvalifar was going to survive that, but just wasn't enough.
So, makes you wonder where SK are in this game, whether or not They have given enough gold and advantage over towards the side of Qlash to get them back into this. Good stun into Kvalifar would provide very troublesome. Impale does miss, and the Death from Above will catch up. Tyra's with a fearsome shade doesn't get blocked and moves them all back. Looks like SK are going to continue forward, but Kvalifar using that forward barrage rather than auto attacks. He is a weapon power Sky. His damage will come from the auto attacks rather than the forward barrage. Needs to remember that's his main damage output.
Yeah, and they almost managed to pick off Vasili's in that, but doing a pretty good job of juking and jiving on this box. It's going to be really on his shoulders to give Agony the time to get towards that breaking point, towards that broken myth, which means he's going to have to pretty much carry the team fights for a while. They aren't too far behind in gold. There's still potential for them to get back into the game. They're even in terms of turrets. So I wouldn't say the Qlash is out of it yet, but I think if Kvalifar can find, slightly better positioning in fights and can actually land some of these death from above, they'll do a much better job of winning the fight. And now, huge damage onto this gold miner. Maybe Qlash can take this.
Yeah, Fearsome Shade will be blocked this time, but it is stolen by Kvalifar, and now they're looking to take the team fight as well. Hez Devil throws the fountain out, but Kvalifar stacking up that breaking point up to 10 stacks and going to continue going forward. Vasili's trying to find some damage, a lot of damage onto Kvalifar, but the Divine Intervention keeps him just about alive, and now SK going to look to try and take down this Crystal Sentry as well. I don't think Qlash can really do anything to stop them. 8-3, Vasili's considering the flank, but it's too risky. Look at this, Agony pushed away. Kvalifar, Vasili's in the middle of the fight. The fountain wasn't even used by Hegman. SK baiting on in. Qlash and now Agony. He's going to lose his life for it as well. The Dragon's Breath comes out, but it just gets deleted by Tyra's. With just 40 seconds to this Kraken, every team fight that goes wrong for Qlash is a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and Kvalifar is really starting to have a good game. Is dishing out considerable amounts of damage. Is starting to pick up a little bit more crit. So looking to go for that 4-weapon item. Maybe it's another Tornado Trigger, probably a Tyrant's Monocle. And you just see how much he's able to shred through Hell's Devil. It's just going to get harder and harder for them to deal with that. But you are a little bit closer to that broken myth on Agony. Maybe that's the breakpoint that they need to be able to make it through these fights. They also kind of need to find a really good weight for it. So far, they've been unable to find value in that silence to stop the Batiste from really setting up endless and endless Ordains, and maybe that will give the advantage, opening up a team fight with a big silence, and they don't get hit by the Fearsome Shades and all the rest of the crowd control.
Currently, SK gearing up for another team fight. Qlash seemingly looking like they're ready to take it as well. Agony sitting 600 gold away from hitting that broken myth, which will really turn team fights in favor of Qlash significantly. It looks like SK are just going to pressure the map in other ways, force Team Qlash to move out of this choke points where Hell's Devil's Lance can have so much impact. SK have to be very careful about fighting in this tight corridor. It's a favorable position for Qlash due to the Giffian War and the goop, but oh dear, Hell's Devil, he just gets destroyed before he can even pop the fountain to save his life. Agony's going to go down next. Fortified Hell keeping alive for a second. He's going to find Hegman and resolve, but Vasili's is dead. It's a triple for Kvalifar on this Sky, and instead of a Kraken, they're going to push the lane. They can get 2 turrets in this time if they please, or they can go for the Kraken. It's their choice. The Kraken seeming to be the answer. Nope, the turret. SK, what are you going to do?
Farm up a couple of jungle camps and then go for the turret. Might actually be a little bit too late. So some indecisive decision making is going to cost them a little bit of objective efficiency. They will take the Crystal Sentry out and get that for their trouble. It's now been eliminated. 16 game, and Kvalifar is just dancing circles around the members of the team.
Oh dear. Looks like SK may also be caught out here. Hegman needs to get into the fight quickly. Hell's Devil are taking a bit of damage. The Fearsome Shade this time blocked. Qlash were just too scared to really engage deeply. They're going to backport. What will SK do is the question. How can they set up to secure themselves the Kraken here? There's no Crystal Sentry to dissuade them from fighting in the jungle, but have to remember, Scarf, Lance, very good in these tight corridors. They're going to move into the lane here.
Yeah, the Team Qlash is very, very cautious of their team positioning. They do need to fight. They can't keep fighting in these corridors in the jungle. They need to fight in that open space. But every time they try and move through for these flanks from the jungle side, they take so much damage from Qlash. And Qlash is taking out the turret.
Yeah, taking out the turret, and there's just no response from Qlash. They're being forced back continuously. Look at the burst coming out of Tyra's on this. Batiste, Hell's Devil once more is dead, and Qlash just got free reign to move forward and take a double, looking for another triple, and he'll find it. The second of this series. Who needs a Kraken when you have empowered minions in the base? SK looking to finish this game.
Qlash doing an amazing job of being a one-man wrecking crew. Yes, there's some crowd control coming from Tyra's and from Hegman, but that last play was just perfectly, well-timed kiting, good amounts of damage, series strike back and forward, and that is going to give SK the win.
Incredible stuff from SK, making that weapon power Sky work and just closing out the game before Agony could complete his broken myth. Completes it just at the last second there, but of course an item not to be used for Qlash. Impressive stuff coming out of SK once more. The summer champions of Europe coming up strong in their first game. We'll have to see if they can continue to do so in this series. Back over to Munchables.